back to the 7.3 garage. Brandon here. We finally have the engine back in the garage. Big shout out and thank you to Laz Mesa down at Mesa Balancing, Hialeah, Florida. He got everything handled for me. Engine looks amazing. We're going to show you in just a second. But again, just want to give a big thanks just at the beginning of the video. Laz Mesa, you're the man. He answered all my questions, was very, very patient with me, and the final product is awesome. We ended up getting it out 2 days ago. They ended up dropping it off. I wanted to film us getting it out, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties, and we need a little more manpower than I had expected to get it out, a little more finicky, but we made it happen. It's here. Let's get into it. So as everybody can see, engine is immaculate. It's very clean. Laz did an insane job. So let me talk about some things that we got going on today. So today, me and my pops are going to be getting on the intake manifolds. And real quick, just want to show everybody down here. I'm very happy with how all the valve train came out. Just to cover again, the heads, I have ARP head studs in here, along with Smith Brothers chromoly push rods. And these are Comp 910 valve springs that are shimmed 30 thousandths. And as you can see, they're all nicely lubed up. Everything's perfectly clean. Laz cleaned all the parts. Everything has been hot tanked through the parts washer, so it makes for a very nice presentation and product. So super happy with how everything came out. And I got some information from him when he did the valve springs. He checked the piston to valve clearance because I ended up going with the stage 2 Colt cam. People said that it's a drop-in. Some people said it's not a drop-in. So he ended up checking everything out. And with the piston at top dead center and the valve at full compression, there was about 19 thousandths of an inch of clearance between the top of the piston and the bottom of the valve. So we should be in good shape for boost, high RPM stuff, so I'm really not concerned with that. While I'm here, again, just to recap on what's going to be done with this thing. 200% fuel injectors from Swamps Diesel. I sent those back. They've been re-O-ring, flowed, tested, checked for metal, because as everybody knows, or many of you know, the last engine was full of metal from the dual high pressure oil pump system that I had, so wanted to make sure there was no metal, everything's been cleaned out. So that's all good. I also have like I said, a Colt stage 2 cam, so actually very excited about that to see how that's going to run. I had the cam gear welded as well. These engines under high RPM, the cam gear isn't really fast. It's basically pressed on to the cam snout, if you will. Under high RPM, those things can walk off, so we wanted to make sure everything was taken care of. Here's another cool piece that I ended up getting from IRA Diesel Performance. The Beans diesel plenums that I had, they were fantastic. However, as everybody can see, the clearance here is way different than the Beans plenums. They were kind of almost like a factory style. They were nice, but when it comes to running a 400 frame turbocharger, anything bigger than a standard housing, you're gonna have clearance issues, and I really didn't have it in me to take a hammer to a nice billet intake plenum. So IRA Diesel, thanks Matt Mayer, really appreciate it. He worked with me a lot, so these are awesome. And we're gonna show the whole process of getting those things on there today. That's what's gonna be going on. Lastly, before we get started with everything else, just want to take a peek at this up here. This is a front cover that came with the engine. The engine that I bought from Dave when he brought it over. This was all clean, parts washed, so it's nice and clean. I've had a few people ask what I'm doing for a balancer. This is a Ford Motorcraft factory balancer. I've heard mixed reviews with fluid damper, ATI, and I wasn't too sure really on either, so I ended up just going with a factory replacement. Brian over at Jellybird Performance really recommended this, so I had the rotating assembly's been balanced with this balancer and the ATS billet flex plate that I have as well. So that's all taken care of. And while we're on the bottom end of the motor, I have an IRA Diesel main stud girdle, IRA Diesel girdle along with ARP main studs for a lot of clamping power on the main cap. So pretty excited about that. I have Diesel Sight's high volume, low pressure oil pump back here. This is a newer product from Bob Riley over Diesel Sight, so real excited to see that. I have a brand new adrenaline, their newest adrenaline pump going on the truck, so I'm very eager to see what kind of pressures we're going to be making. So without further ado, I'm going to set the camera up, and me and the old man are going to get working on getting these plenums on and show you how that whole process goes. So before we get started, just wanted to show everybody this. If you've ever taken intake plenums off of a 7.3 before, the front timing cover here, from the factory, there's a bolt here, and it has very, very minimal clearance. So we had to make I guess our own kind of hardware. So we took a stud with I guess it's the same exact thread pitch for the one that goes in the head, and have a nut that threads on top. So any really aftermarket plenums that you get will have this little indentation or cut part. So when you go ahead and install it, you basically just slide it right underneath there. So that's going to be, I've done it before, but this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Here's the driver's side plenum getting ready to go on. You can see we already have the passenger side on. These came out awesome. I'm pretty excited to see how well these are going to fit. So those came on. These are 18 foot-pounds of torque. If you're going to be doing anything like this, engine stuff is not rocket science, but it's very meticulous. So buy yourself a nice paint pen or something of that nature, something you can mark with. So as you go on and you torque things down, just put a little dot on it so you know, hey, it's torque. There's no question. This is just the nice, slow process to do it. So that's that side. So the process is basically the same. I purchased, Pops, let me see that for a second. I just want to show. So this is a Motorcraft. This is their RTV silicone, and it specifically says for use on 7.3 diesel engines. So this stuff is awesome. It dries completely solid. It's an amazing sealant, so it works very, very well. I've never really had any issues with it. So I'll show you the process here. So again, now there's none of that weird stud stuff on this side, on the driver's side, but when this goes on, you just have to make sure it goes on pretty square. So you kind of just feed that end in, how he's doing right now, and just start getting your hardware in. So start feeding those in, and these torque down again to 18 foot-pounds. So if you have a wrench, make sure it gets done right. There's plenty of things on the internet. There's I guess blogs, if you will, or threads like Power Stroke Nation, Ford Trucks, or Ford Truck Enthusiasts, things like that. They have all they have stuff on there. There's thousands and thousands of threads on there with information. So we're gonna get this squared away and torqued down, and we'll be back in a second to show you the finished product. Okay, so the Plenums are on, and this is the final product. They came out pretty good. I'm very happy with them. They look awesome. Very excited to see how they're going to fit with the even the clearance with the 369 that I have right now. So it'll really shine when I get the new turbo on it next year. So this is how this is sitting as of right now. We're going to tape that side up so we don't need anything to fall down to the engine, because that is a huge issue, or it will become a huge issue if something like that happens. So that's taken care of. Real quick, I'm going to show you the next thing that we're going to be taking care of. These are just the factory exhaust manifolds. There's 8 bolts on each side, and I ended up going with the gasket. Again, this is all recommended by Brian over at Jelly Wheel Performance. I've never run it with a gasket. The last time I had it, when I had the heads machined, I had them decked, and I had the exhaust manifolds decked as well. So they were nice and flat. I had no gasket. However, I did have some leaking in the rear most cylinder on the driver's side. There's a little bit of soot under there, so I just wanted to get the gasket on and torque these down, and we'll show you how that process goes. So we got the Plenums, as everybody saw. While we were up here, I figured since we had the room to work, we went ahead and installed the fuel fittings. Again, this is the Irate Diesel electric fuel conversion kit. And these are their hard lines. They look pretty nice. They come out pretty good, but I left these on. I'm going to end up taping these up, but just to show everybody how the fittings look back here. Some people, I've been asked a couple of times with the fittings in the heads, especially the rear ones. I don't know if you can see, it looks like it's kind of sitting on an angle. It's the way that it's the way the casting is, and the way that the bolt or the thread pathway is. It's on an angle. So if it starts and it starts to go in for you while you're doing this, if it's in the truck or out of the truck, it's not cross-threaded. It's just the angle. The way your eye sees it, you think it's going to be perfectly flat, but the way that it's drilled into the head casting, that's just the way that looks. So that's no big deal. This is all 3/8 fuel line, so it's pretty awesome. But just wanted to leave that on there to show you. Next, we're going to jump into getting the passenger side exhaust manifold on. So I'm going to show everyone the process with that right now. Okay, we are back. I know I said I was going to be right back and show you how to get this passenger side exhaust manifold on. Ended up having a small issue. We ended up taking care of it, so it's done. It's actually the next day. We got Frankie here. We got Cooper here. Cooper! And Frankie brought his amazing dually as always. So we are actually getting this ready to paint up some stuff, because the heads are just a raw metal, a cast iron right now. So we're going to be setting up a makeshift paint booth, if you will, to paint some of the heads up and some parts of the block, because it was all hot tanked and cleaned up. So let's get to that. Here's some of the supplies we're going to be using. We're going to see how this turns out. But got a little bit of visqueen, some plastic drop cloth, and got some nice thumbtacks. I'll show you what the plan is here. We're going to attempt, sorry, I'm trying to get this thing to work. It's been killing me. So my goal is I'm going to run that plastic cloth almost in a square this way around the light, and then have it open kind of in this area. But as Frankie's prepping, I'm going to start working on some of this stuff. But just to show everybody real quick, all this stuff here, it's not really a big deal. It's just aesthetically, I want to get it all, uniform, same color. And same thing, you already see this is already starting to rust up just a little bit. But here's the finished product while we're on this side. So we got everything torqued down here. Again, these, I don't know if I mentioned it, these are 45 foot-pounds. I like to torque out. So I'll do this one, and kind of just bounce back, mark them, make sure they're good to go. That nice copper anti-seize we had on there is a 2,000 degree anti-seize, so that basically if you have to surface any of these parts and they've been heated and cooled down multiple times, you know the hardware is going to come out, so that's awesome. Trying out this gasket. I've heard, again, just mixed reviews. This is just my personal liking, and I was like, you know, let me try. Some people recommended it, so we're going to take those for a rip and see what happens. If they break or they blow a gasket, whatever, they're coming off and I'm going right back on. So it's not really the end of the world for me. So let me see if I can get everyone a good view of getting this paint booth set up. So I almost busted my ass once and everybody laughed at me, but this is the progress. Frankie is an epic friggin', whatever you call it, thumbtacker. So those are coming along pretty well. We just have to get the last piece of plastic sealer up here and we can start painting. This is coming along better than expected. We got this basically open. The goal with this, I just wanted to keep it in the garage so we had the light, kind of keep the fumes down off the truck, obviously. This thing's been kicking our behinds, for lack of better words, so we have like a million pieces of tape on the truck to keep it back. But this is something I should have done when I had it down at the shop. It's not the end of the world, but I should have had them paint the heads while they were down there, while everything was out. He could have had it all taped up nice. That's on me, but it's coming along pretty good. I just want to get these plenums all squared away, and I think I'm just gonna put a big piece of cardboard here just to kind of block this off, so that I don't get any paint in the front cover and things like that. So we're gonna get tape along here. I'm just gonna hang rags basically, or stuff rags down in here. So Frankie's working on that side as well. This is what we're gonna be using here. This is just, I got this at O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's just a nice duplicolor engine enamel. Just says this is good for up to 500 degrees, which it should be fine. Resists oils and fluids. So this shouldn't be a big deal for us. I got some things, there's my little oil drain hole in the block. That's all taped off. I'm gonna just kind of square this off here with the oil supply and drain for the turbo. And we should be ready to go here pretty shortly. Just little odds and ends. I can't get my camera to focus. But we got this done just to keep some of the fumes down. Not terrible, just a little throwaway. So once it's done, I'll pull this all down, let it dry up, and we'll be all set, and we'll show you what it looks like when we start painting. All right, engine's all ready to go. We got it all taped up here. The booth, if you will, is all set. We got our paints all shooken up for the most part. So we're gonna get started. Paint booth has been deconstructed, and this is the finished product. Pretty happy with how it came out. Again, not looking for perfection, but just so it keeps a lot of the rust off the heads, and it looks decent when you take it out somewhere and pop the hood up. Just it's not going to be show quality, but I'm happy the way it turned out. Got everything taped up. Everything came out pretty clean. So got the fan set up. We're gonna let that sit overnight. Let that all get dried up. Today is Saturday. I think it's December 14th. And I am working tomorrow, which is Sunday. So I have the next 3 days off. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. So that's when I'm really going to start buckling in and getting a lot of this taken care of. On the top or the front of the engine, I'm going to get the new high pressure oil pump on with the drive gear. We'll get that secured. I'm going to get the water pump on, get that all set up and ready to go. Get the new gasket, seal that up so that's nice and tight on there. And after that, it's up pipes. I got to clean up some other stuff up front, paint a few more things. I actually got to paint something else tonight. That little turbo pedestal that goes here for the T4 mount. We'll get that handled. And this thing is getting pretty close to being ready to get dropped in. So let this sit again overnight and into tomorrow. Tomorrow morning I'll come out and take all the tape off and just let it sit, keep the fan on, let it get nice and tight, as I like to say. Let that paint get all solidified. So pretty happy with how that came out. Frankie took Cooper for a run or a walk, if you will, on my longboard. So while we're here, I'd like to, I don't know if I've ever done really a spotlight thing. I'm going to show you Frankie's truck. So here's Frankie's ride. This is a 2000 F350 7.3 crew cab long bed dually. And not only is it awesome, it is 4-wheel drive, which is super cool. I love 4-wheel drive dualies. He just replaced the front headlights, and the trim pieces all came out. He's got the newer Super Duty mirrors, nice tint. The cab lights are new. Factory wheels he tries to keep nice and clean. Just he's gonna buy markers for those. He's got the rear light bar. I think he oh, you know what, I did feature his truck in the install video, the Hydra video. That's what I did. But this thing is awesome. He just added this. We bought this at a shop locally, little 5-inch 90 tip. He just welded on there. It came out pretty good. But this truck is solid. I love this thing. One of my favorites. He's looking to get this thing rowdy in the next couple of years, so he's over here learning, doing some stuff with me, but he's pretty excited to get her up to par, if you will, with all the new trucks. But ain't she sweet. Pretty much sums up everything that I really wanted to take care of today. I still have a lot of stuff to do, but again, every day that goes by, it's getting closer and closer. So like I said, we're gonna get this thing dried up, ready to go, and next we're gonna start working on that front cover, show some of the install processes with the high pressure oil pump and how the reservoir fits and how the proper way to do everything, get everything torqued down and make sure it's up to spec, if you will, so it's ready to go into the truck. Once that's all taken care of, like I said, we'll get the front end put together, not taken apart. We'll get the front end put together on the engine. We'll get the up pipes on, get everything cleaned up. Once we get it in the truck, it's just a matter of getting the core support on, getting all the wires run, the fuel lines, the turbo back on, all kinds of nonsense. But all that can be knocked out hopefully in a couple of days. So we should be ready to go here by the end of next week. My goal is Friday or Saturday of next week to have this thing ready to turn the key. Maybe sooner, maybe a couple days after, but definitely before Christmas. So we're doing it. We're out here doing it, and this is the only way it's going to happen. As always, really appreciate everybody's time and attention with this matter. I like doing it. I'm glad you guys like watching me do it, and I like to pass on knowledge. So thank you for everyone who's been tuning in and checking everything out, subscribing, follow me on Instagram, all that fun stuff. Please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you can see when I post a new video. I'll be coming out with some more stuff. Every day is getting closer and closer, so keep your eyes out. Follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description down below so you can follow me on Instagram. I do some small updates there if I get parts or just some little odds and ends. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to comment. If you have any questions, you have anything you think I should be doing while this is apart, please let me know. Comment, send me a message. I like hearing from everybody. I like learning, so please do that. That's all I have. I think that's it. I think that is all I have. That's it. My name's Brandon. This is the 7-3 Garage. We will see you next time.